What is up, y'all? It's your boy Nick, and I'm back with another Anime Sunday! Anime Sunday, animu, anima. You know what I'm saying? I got my little cutout t-shirt. Even though it's December, you know, it's Anime Sunday. Now, let's get this out the way. I love y'all. 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 Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all, bro. I really do. I'm glad that y'all here. You know what I'm saying? The month is almost over. The year's almost over. I hope that you're grinding. I hope that you're grinding and getting to a place where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? The cliche things, you know what I mean? Like, life is too short. You know what I'm saying? This, that. I mean, these are all true things. These are all true things. But I'm just, one thing that I would tell y'all is that, bro, just please, if anything, live out your dreams. Don't sit up here and settle. Don't sit up here and settle. Live out your dreams. Don't settle for anything. Keep on going. Because look, at the end of the day, all this, once you're gone, like, do you really want to look back and be like you didn't, you were miserable your whole life? I don't know where that come from. It just can't. I don't know. I just felt like I just needed to say that. Like, I really want y'all to get out there, just do your thing. I'm not saying quit your job, right? You know what I'm saying? Be smart about it, but just know, set up a way to where it's like you're gonna get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Please do not settle. Please do what you want to do. Please do that. Even if that's doing sacrifices for a lot of other things, do what you want to do, bro. Your happiness is important. I don't know why that came out. It just did. Now, let's get into this. I know it's almost 5 minutes. Beyond the Robot. Shout out to Beyond the Robot. Get into the Robot. I actually really like their content. I really fuck with them heavy. All the people there, just anime nerds just like me, you know what I'm saying? And you know, they look like me. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But this is interesting because this is a topic that I already made a video on, but y'all never seen it. Because the guy, I'm gonna be honest with you, the guy was kind of boring. I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was kind of boring. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was kind of boring, even though I do love Fooly Cooley, and the breakdown of it was genius. It was amazing. It was good. I like the breakdown of that he did, but it wasn't entertaining, really. It was kind of boring. I know y'all niggas were gonna fall asleep, and I was kind of falling asleep during the middle of it. So we got it. It's a longer version, but this guy, he kind of funny, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Why not get a little bit more in depth into one of my favorite series of all time? Literally top 10 best anime / manga, whatever you want to say, of all time. I don't care what anybody says, bro. Let's get into it, bro.
Talk about Fooly Cooley, the super horny coming-of-age anime that explores adulthood in what I think is the most creative and in many ways unnecessary way I've ever seen. The show's protagonist Naota Nandaba is growing up in the city of Mabase, where nothing amazing happens and everything is ordinary. That is, of course, until a sociopath on a Vespa scooter rocks his f***ing dome with a bass guitar.
And I do rock with their aesthetic. I like the whole aesthetic, and I like the people that are there. That's why I'm watching this, because I really enjoy their content a lot. Just to let y'all know. You know what I'm saying? I really fuck with them heavy, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Beyond the Robot, bro.
And opens his third eye to a hilarious sex joke here. Then that sociopath abuses his trust and uses him to free an interdimensional felon bird with no regard for the well-being of Mabase or the rest of the world, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm Yudoye, and this is Beyond the Bot, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's kind of clean.
If you watch the old channel, you are no stranger to the fact that I am not a fan of the constant sexualization of minors in anime. It's weird. And it's not indicative of the genre as a whole, but nonetheless, it is prevalent. And for the people who cite Japan's age of consent in casual conversation, you are one of a few reasons why maybe they should never reinstate international travel out of the US. If you need a law to tell you it's creepy, then you operate at a level of creepiness so fundamental to your character that while I support prison abolition, I am willing to make an exception for you specifically.
I agree with everything that he said there. If you don't give a damn about the age of consent for a lot of places, because let's be honest, that's just creepy. You know what I'm saying? If you're liking on little girls, then you know you're weird. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I don't care if they're a lolly, none of that. I'm not with none of that. You know what I mean? You're weird to me. You're weird to me. Not saying that because I know some people that do like that, and they're not all bad people. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, their argument's gonna be, well, it's just a fictional character, and I'll be like, yeah, sure, but at the same time, it's like it's still kind of weird. Let's just keep it a buck. But some people go beyond that. You know what I mean? And no pun intended, but they be going beyond the bot. You know what I mean? Like,
That being said, the show contains a few relationship dynamics that the average viewer would consider, we'll say, less than ideal.
And it's both ways. I don't care, not just for little girls, but for little boys too.
Particularly in their age differentials, but I believe in this case that's for a reason. So in this video, I want to explore themes of masculinity through the lens of our protagonist Naota, and also dissect the relationships that develop over the course of the show, because I believe as much as Fooly Cooly can be watched mindlessly for the fight scenes and South Park references, it also has kind of a lot to say about power dynamics and toxicity in relationships, which I think can be contextualized through a book that was published after the show's premiere, Bell Hooks' The Will to Change, a text that discusses feminism as it pertains to men. And I acknowledge that the phrase feminism for men is exactly the type of bullshit you would expect to hear from a dude hosting a YouTube anime channel, and I am willing to accept that burden and explain myself. Her primary thesis is that feminism has a tendency to demonize men rather than consider that they're just as much victims of the expectations of patriarchal society, further claiming that the meager benefits men gain through their domination of women and our families are not enough to justify the sacrifices to our own emotional intelligence. And before I continue, I want to add a disclaimer, because ever since my video on racism in Dragon Ball Z, I've noticed that some of you dumb hoes don't seem to understand what analysis is. This is my own interpretation of this work with a little help from other sources. I'm not making any claims about what the creators meant for the show to represent, and I could be entirely off base, but y'all click this video to hear from me, so if you're just looking for an objective account of what happened on the show, you can watch the f***ing show. It's on Hulu.
It's sad that he even has to do this. It's sad that he even has to do this, but the fact that we are in a day and age where we have to literally explain everything because everybody gets offended by every little thing that somebody says is just crazy to me. The fact that he even has to make a disclaimers about this, about certain things that he said that were facts, by the way, that were facts, because I did watch that video and he was spitting facts on there. I'm gonna be honest with you, even though as much as we love Dragon Ball Z, I know I people may say he was reaching a little bit, whatever it is. Go watch the video. Low key, if you really think about it, it puts you into perspective. Like, you know what? Low key, he kind of got a point. But the fact that he has to explain himself because niggas, because niggas like you that get offended, like people that get offended real quickly over anybody's opinion. Man, this is why I wish I was an American, bro.
Hulu. Just watch it. It's fine. Now, there are 6 episodes of Fooly Cooly and 6 key points to draw from Bell Hooks' work, and they don't line up perfectly, but let's see if we can tie them together.
I might read that book. I don't read books, but...
Okay. The show opens on Mamimi Samejima and the considerably younger Naota talking under the bridge where Mamimi used to hang with her alleged boyfriend, Naota's older brother Tasuku. Mamimi swings a baseball bat while Naota does his homework, and you might not catch this on the first watch, but Mamimi repeatedly insists on referring to Naota as Takun, which is Tasuku's nickname.
Takun, what are you doing? Homework.
And you might think that's reason enough for Naota to not f with her, but this is lesson number 1 on toxic relationships. People are willing to accept abuse in exchange for what they perceive as love and acceptance. And this goes both ways in this case, but more on that in a second. This short interaction touches on a few things, some of which get revealed later, but in the interest of time and cohesion, here they all are. Naota's older brother left Japan to play minor league baseball in America, leaving Naota alone with his low-key abusive dad and grandfather, which he hints at when Mamimi asks why he doesn't do his homework at home, and instead of giving a real reason, he does the most 12-year-old shit imaginable and says doing his homework at home isn't cool. And look, if a preteen ever tells you that something as simple as being at home isn't cool, it's time to strap in because you got a depressed child on your hands. Depressed Child, brought to you by Hasbro. Serotonin sold separately. The void left by Tasuku takes a huge toll on both Naota and Mamimi, with the former carrying around a baseball bat as a memento to cope with his brother's absence and with the pressure of living in his shadow, and the latter using Naota in the most polite terms as a surrogate for the relationship she at least thinks she has with Tasuku, and in the least polite terms, she starts sucking the wax off this little boy's earlobe because she can't find a boy her own age. Ew, what a fucking loser. Ew. Ah. Ugh. Gross. But let's contextualize this very, very nasty relationship. From the start of the series, it's understood that Mamimi is Tasuku's girlfriend, but we only really know this through Mamimi's behavior in relation to him and allusions that suggest an infatuation, but not necessarily a relationship.
In the background,
she seems close to the family by her proximity to Naota, but her sexual behavior toward him while his brother is in the US suggests there might be something a little less clear and more creepy going on. Now, it's been suggested pretty consistently that Mamimi is using Naota as a substitute substitute for Tasuku, and her suggestion that Naota should also play baseball supports that she's trying to mold him into a weird Tasuku replica, suggesting that she loves the idea of Tasuku more than the actual man and is willing to do whatever it takes to capture that idea. More on that later, but for now, I'll state one of a couple theses. That Tasuku represents both adulthood and the idea of masculinity that Naota is expected to attain as he gets older. And we never actually see Tasuku because actual masculinity is a vague and entirely intangible concept that we've created in our minds to get teenagers to open pickle jars and aspire to beat the shit out of their dads. It's arbitrary, as ethereal as Barack Obama's bisexual crush. But I digress. The next character we meet is Haruko Haruhara, who comes crashing in on her Vespa as a very nuanced and not at all obvious metaphor for Naota's horniness. Her relationship with Naota is incredibly manipulative in that she only develops an attachment to him as collateral damage while she attempts to use the NO portal on his head to free the Pirate King Atomisk from captivity in the Medical Mechanica building and finally be with the man she loves and or steal his power at the expense of everyone in Mabase and possibly the entire world. Okay. Whatever. And this brings us to the first key point of Bell Hooks' work, that patriarchy prevents men from loving and getting in touch with their feelings. Throughout the first episode, Naota remains almost entirely passive, mainly reacting to Mamimi until the initial encounter with Haruko that leads to him becoming her vessel to extract Atomisk from imprisonment. For better or worse, usually worse, both Mamimi and Haruko are quick to express their desires and act on them. It's very clear very quickly that Mamimi has feelings for Tasuku, and she expresses them through her literal sexual abuse of Naota, claiming that if she doesn't, she'll overflow. And whether you take that to mean sexually or emotionally is up to you, but either way, she makes her feelings known, and it's gross. Haruko is equally direct.
I mean, yeah.
And even more chaotic interactions, and it's clear from the beginning that although her intentions are unclear, she will absolutely act on them at the expense of others, and while she does develop a type of affection for Naota later on, it's clear that she's willing to use anyone to her own ends, which we later learn through the accounts of Naota's father Kamon, and through Haruko's previous vessel, Commander Amurao, and even from their first encounter when Haruko repeatedly calls Naota Taro-kun, which, like most English-speaking viewers, I initially missed, but for context, Taro is a generic name like the American John Doe, which suggests that while Naota's head is, quote, the only one that works, Haruko would have inflicted herself on anyone who could serve her purposes. Meanwhile, Naota stays quiet through all this because the only avenue through which he engages with his emotions is through the specter of his brother who we never actually see and whose only discernible quality is that he is pretty good at baseball. So what Mamimi expects from Naota, and what the rest of Mabase expects of Naota, as we learn in episode 4, is that he be pretty good at baseball. Nothing else. And only having a vague set of parameters paired with high expectations means Naota takes a very hard stance against behavior that falls out of line. He harbors resentment for people who are more expressive than he is allowed to be. He refers to Haruko as a stupid adult who doesn't know how to grow up because he thinks growing up is something you do by limiting your expression rather than something that just happens. He views adulthood and by the same virtue manhood as a set of boxes to check off rather than just a progression of time. And this follows pretty logically into the next point, that boys are taught to suppress their feelings and this leads to anger and violence. Early on in the show, we see Naota as unfeeling and visibly depressed.
I thought I paused it. I mean, that is true. That's actually very definitely true because, like, you know, especially for like, yeah, I'm not gonna. Let's
He mostly expresses resentment toward other characters,
this is 22
particularly
minutes and I'm
older
already
ones who don't fit the ideal of adulthood that he's convinced
18 minutes
himself is
in.
the only way to behave.
I'm
The
already
few times
18
he
minutes
does
in.
express himself or to question the
Damn.
behavior of others, in which I'll admit he is definitely justified, but the way he does that is almost exclusively by yelling. To put it simply, Naota has the emotional range of a gun with the safety off. He's either doing nothing, or you can rub him the wrong way and end up on a t-shirt if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Okay, this idea can also be expressed more abstractly through the fact that in pretty much every episode, a violent manifestation of Naota's sexual awakening pops out of his head to destroy the city of Mabase. Most important to this part of the discussion, though, is that both Naota's father and grandfather are, for lack of a better word, trash. They suck.
Imagine us as humans if we had that type of like way to, or at least for as kids like around his age, like 12 to like 15. Imagine if we expressed our anger towards like big ass monsters growing out of our head, bro. This whole world will be destroyed. this whole world will be destroyed if that was a real thing, bro.
They don't offer any sort of emotional support to Naoto when he clearly needs it, and they support one of the most significant aspects of this second point, that boys don't have complete relationships with their fathers or a healthy way of coming to terms with that lack, which only perpetuates the anger that they feel, and it might contribute to competition between the two parties, as we see in this weird love triangle between Naoto, Kamon, and Haruko. Which brings me to point number 3. Patriarchy teaches men to crave violence and sex, but not love. We can see this from the first episode in the way Naoto's sexual encounters are pretty much exclusively forced on him by older women. You can say in that sense that Mamimi and Haruko are more metaphors than actual people. The second he comes to age, which he only has by deeply f***ed up standards of manhood, Naoto is inundated with sexuality, which is only encouraged by his two shitty friends who don't talk about anything else, and by his father until the point when they both ostensibly develop relationships with Haruko. By episode 4, this weird...
So I guess that's where the boys will be boys kind of thing kind of comes into play. I hate that saying, bro.
Oedipal situation develops between the three of them, so that basically the only real attention Kamon pays to Naoto is a healthy father-son pissing contest for Haruko's heart. By which I mean Kamon shoots his own son with a gun, and then several other guns.
They aired that man
dressed
out.
like a Nazi.
Yeah. Yeah. We ain't gonna speak about that.
And now that I've blown through the first points, let me catch up with some plot. Actual plot, shut the f*** up. Firestarter. Episode 2 revolves around Mamimi's obsession.
It just sucks though, because like there is a lot of great shows, like very great shows, just like this one, that have some things that are questionable, and you're just like, why did that, why did he put that in there? You know what I'm saying? Why did the creator put that in there? Like iShow 21, for example. Like, I love the shit out of that show, to be honest with you. There is definitely a lot of... Now, I don't think they displayed it in the anime, but in the manga, there is a certain part, it's racist. It's racist. If you know, you know. I mean, like, let's be honest. Football, African American, I'm pretty sure you can feel it. But I mean, it's not, you know what I'm saying? I can't really say that, you know what I mean? No, never mind. Let me take. Nah, let me
with Tatsuya by the way of the robot she names Lord Kanzi. One of Bell Hooks' anchoring points is that because men are taught to suppress their feelings, women are socialized to accept coldness as love, as long as that coldness comes with the man's resources. Basically, a man's value is determined by his ability to provide for his partner and family, and without that basic tenet, a man has no purpose. In Mamimi's case, this manifests in some unfortunate ways. Tatsuya's ability to provide is exhibited in his professional baseball career, and in the fact that when they were kids, Tatsuya rescued Mamimi from their school that burned down. And considering Tatsuya doesn't actually exist as far as the story is concerned, and also has an American girlfriend, pretty much the coldest thing you can do in a relationship, Mamimi's bond to Tatsuya is based on basically nothing. She gets nothing from him, emotional or otherwise. She doesn't even get support from the Nandaba family. Their grandpa hates her, and Kamon says just about everything short of, "Ayo, who is that broke bitch outside?" Mamimi forms a trauma bond with Tatsuya that he does not even reciprocate, even in the way that men are expected to, but she still receives this as love. And whether that's intended to be because of his money-making potential, I don't know, but I do believe her weird relationship with technology adds a little bit more context to this. Mamimi might as well be a ghost to everyone else in the series, but she has special connections, first with her phone, and then with her Firestarter.
Yeah, Mamimi she's a very interesting character in this show. Like, when I first watched this show, she for sure definitely was like the first time I watched it, she definitely was like, I was just like, I felt kind of bad for her. Like, I low-key felt like kind of bad for her. Because I was like, damn, this is depressing. You know what I mean?
Video game, which becomes the template onto which she paints Kanti as the hero, effectively putting him in the position she had initially placed Naota, and solidifying that when she dives in for a kiss. In that moment, we see Naota finally begin to see something in Mamimi, and we see Mamimi finally begin to give up on Naota. Maybe jealousy, I don't know. Because as I mentioned before, Mamimi's affection for Naota is based on his proximity to Tatsuya, and seeing Kanti first as the god in her game, and then literally rescuing her from the next thing to pop out of Naota's head in front of the same school where Tasuku saved her gives her the distance she needs to move on to another hollow representation of basically the same unrequited relationship. Haha. I think Kanti and later the terminal core dog thing that she also names Takun are representative of the technology that she views as her only way of staying connected with the real Takun over in America. On the other hand, Boy Takun and Cat Takun are just kinda weird. She's just a weirdo. I don't know. She names at least 4 things Takun in the show, if that wasn't clear. I'm not sure how, but this brings me to the greater point that working women, dull jobs, and unemployment threaten the patriarchy. You may have noticed Naota's father and grandfather just kind of sit around the house all day and talk vaguely about sex and subject themselves to unnecessary masculinity tests like eating unbearably spicy curry for no reason. Meanwhile, Mamimi is the only one of the 3 main women in the show who doesn't work. Bell Hooks would suggest that these men have lost their sense of importance by way of having no fulfilling place in the workforce. Basically, these women have agency, leaving Kamon and his father with no one to provide for, except maybe Mamimi if they had any empathy at all. Therefore, they lash out and engage in f***ed behaviors in order to do anything but engage with their actual feelings, which includes trying to f*** your son's girlfriend? Which also makes Kamon a great target for Haruko, who easily takes advantage of his need to feel even a little bit useful. The main takeaway from episode 3 is that Nina Mori is the most adult person in the show and has more character development in one episode than everyone else does.
She look like Venti.
Takes a very mature stance on her parents' possible divorce, admits her lies and mistakes, and then shows almost zero interest in Naota's coming of age journey or his ill-fated attachment to Haruko, and that to me is hard as f***. That's it. Episode 4, though, is where shit starts to get wild, as if it wasn't already. It's centered around a citywide baseball game, a literal one and a metaphorical one. Also, Haruko literally says she is a—
Yo, who picked the beats for this, bro? That shit, they're 3 for 3 right now.
Manifestation of Naota's feelings. So there's that little bit that kind of corroborates what I'm saying that I need to say before I
this
forget.
Boy, he in trouble.
Say it. Before I continue, I'm gonna be honest. I need like a second to just process all the shit I'm saying, which sounds more and more like I'm talking out of my ass. But I already wrote most of this shit, so just let me finish. Bear with me. Episode 4, I think, is where Naota first comes to terms with himself as a man. Before this point, he's been passive, only responding to everyone else's actions and their wishes of him. Now he's finally put to the test and forced to take action as Mabase faces destruction by a bomb shaped like a baseball that represents the actual game of baseball he played in the start of the episode, which was a metaphor for his duties as a man, the ideal of which is embodied by his brother Tasuku, who, by the way, Naota said early in the series that he saw a little bit of in Haruko, so she also represents him. She's also good at baseball, too.
Yeah. Process.
Anyway, the whole driving question of this episode is whether Naota will swing the bat, whether he'll take charge as a man and act on his needs. Meanwhile, there's a motorcycle. Meanwhile, he's introduced to Commander Amurao of the Bureau of Interstellar Immigration, a former vessel of Haruko's with a considerably weaker NO channel than Naota, and a real big complex about it. He is allegedly trying to stop Haruko's plan, but also harbors feelings for her and jealousy toward Naota, which makes his intentions a little questionable. By the end of the episode, Naota does in fact swing the bat, and he isn't quite strong enough to knock the bomb back into space, and Haruko has to jump in and help him, but he did something. And that's what counts. He did something.
Yeah.
Point 5. Men need to be vocal about their emotions, and women have to be accepting of that. Sorry. This part might be tough. Bell Hooks makes a pretty broad point.
Wait, that's the... oh. And it's a woman, too. So, y'all, you know what I'm saying? I can already see a bunch of people now. I ain't gonna go there.
That women contribute to the patriarchy as much as men, in that they're also taught to reinforce the dominator model where men dull their emotions in order to lifelessly provide for their families. Boys in authoritarian households like Naota's have their emotions suppressed by society, and that suppression is reinforced by mothers who fear retaliation from their partners and judgment by society, and often become even more ruthless enforcers of patriarchal structures, which breeds resentment in their sons who grow up to project that hatred onto the women in their lives, creating a cycle of authoritarian households with fathers who literally wear Nazi uniforms to shoot their sons with air rifles in a cornfield. To bring up no specific examples. In episode 5, in the aftermath of Mabase's near destruction, rumors start to spread that Naota was the one who saved the city. Even though he had a little help, but neither here nor there. He lets this go to his head, and we can start to see him develop a little ego as his friends and Mamimi acknowledge this achievement. For better or worse, Naota starts to develop an actual personality, which doesn't—
He start feeling himself. Yeah. This, I don't know why. This just really makes me want to go back and watch it again, bro. This would probably be like the 1200th time that I rewatched this show. Like it, mind you, it's only 6 episodes. That's like 2 hours, bro. If you don't got 2 hours in a day to watch this whole thing, you at least have 30 minutes every day. You can watch it for the whole week. 30 minutes every single day. Just pick a time, and it's interesting. You like it's one of those shows you don't want to watch. You don't want to stop watching, and it's literally 6 episodes. Hence why I don't know why. That's probably like one of the reasons why I like this show a lot, because now listening to this and listening to the other analyzation that the other guy that I listened to about the same thing, it's just like, bro, there's a lot. Like, mind you, like the first time I watched this show, I think I was like, what? I think I was around Nato's age around the time I watched this show, because I think I watched this show like when I was around like. I'm minded. This came out in 2000. I didn't watch it when it first came out. Like I watched it like on Adult Swim, so it was like not Adult Swim, Toonami, whichever one. So that was probably 2007, I think 2007. So like 7 years after the show, after the show came out. You know what I'm saying? I think that was 2007. I think 2006, 2007, something like that. Yeah, and I first watched it. I enjoyed it, but like I kept on rewatching it, and I'm just like, okay, I see it, but like now as an adult, it's different when you watch something as a kid versus watching something as an adult, because you miss a lot of things as a kid watching it versus an adult. And I remember when I rewatched it back when it was like 2016, I'm like, bro, I low-key missed a lot of things about this show that I didn't realize as a kid when I watched it. And then now looking back at it again, and the things that they're like, they feel like this is only a 6-episodic show. The fact that it got so many layers on it by itself, like there's so many different things that you don't pick up. And bro, it's only 6 episodes, and yet you have to rewatch the show like so many times to get like a lot of the like undermining. And I don't do that for a lot of shows, because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I just like to go brain dead. You know what I'm saying? I like to turn off my brain, you know, and just watch shows. I don't like to really like to watch shows that I create like in a like as like in on a critique type of level, because then at that point it's just like, well, am I really watching the show or am I working? You know what I'm saying, to find something wrong with the show, you know what I mean? But you know, a lot of these shows do require you to rewatch. Like I like the shows that require you to have to rewatch the show in order to get certain stuff, because that just first of all shows the engagement of you're really interested in, and B, it just shows the genius in the author and the whole team behind the shows. Because I feel like Death Note was another one that was one of those shows that you had to rewatch a lot of times. Zero's Experiment Lane is another one of those shows that you have to rewatch like a bunch of times to get what's really going on in there. This show, like I like those type of shows. I like those are like literally my favorite shows. Like I feel like those are like the best type of shows, because it's like it'll show you like bro, it makes you feel like your big brain, basically what I'm saying. It makes you feel like your big brain, but you do learn a lot of things that the author, like, you know what I'm saying, the author like intends for you to, like, you know what I'm saying, like that you needed, that you it's like going back on a level that you know you missed something on a video game or something. It's like going back and trying to replay it, and you end up discovering new stuff on that same level type of shit. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of feeling that I like. That's why I love this show so much. Like I feel like this is literally one of the best shows of all time, because of a lot of, and there's a lot more factors too, the aesthetic wise, all that. It's just an amazing show. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, it's just an amazing show. It's top tier. If it's not in your, never mind. Let me not do that.
Sit right with my Mimi, who couldn't stop fucking with the emotionless husk she used as a replacement.
But don't sleep on the show. It's literally only 6 episodes.
Granted, my Mimi is visibly jealous of Naota's relationship with Haruko, but it's a situation where they're both kind of fucked up. My Mimi resents that Naota has become his own person and rejects him when he goes in for a kiss, despite having a real, albeit manipulative, relationship with Haruko.
Now, but my thing is that even though I don't know if I would recommend it, if this is like your first time watching anime, I would recommend this, but like I feel like I don't know if I would recommend this to somebody that's brand new to anime, or somebody that wants to get into anime, even though it's only 6 episodes long. I feel like somebody that's new to watching anime won't really enjoy the how do I say it? I feel like they would enjoy it because it do got some good fights and this, that, and third. But I feel like that's not the main thing of the show. That's like even that's like probably the undertone of the show. Like that's literally like you don't watch this show for the fights. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing like with Ava. You don't watch that. You don't watch that. You don't watch Ava or like Eureka 7. You don't watch those for like the mech aspect of it or the fighting. You watch it because of the good storytelling, in my opinion. It's why I couldn't really, like I said, I feel like once you get like your bearings down of the type of anime you should watch. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, like I said, you should definitely watch this, but I don't know if I would suggest this to a new person that's watching anime, because I feel like you would miss a lot of things that, like I did as but yet again, granted, I mean, depending on the person, like if you're an adult, I would suggest this, but as a kid, I don't know if I would suggest this as your first anime. I definitely say it should be like you're like, if you're going for 10 anime, this should be like one of your first 10 anime, because it's like, you want to broaden the horizon. I like broaden the horizon, type of shit. But like as your first anime, I don't know if this would be necessarily good, because I feel like you won't really get the full experience of Fully at all. You know what I'm saying? If it's like your first thing you watch, because then you suggest this. I would suggest this, and then you turn around and like be like, well, watch Naruto, and then you'd be like, wait, what? This is not what? You know what I mean? So it's like, but definitely it should be one of your first 10 anime that you should watch. I feel like this should be like required I know there's no requirements as an anime head, because I hate that, but like just but for people that have not seen this, I feel like this should be like a requirement show. This should be like a prerequisite show. If you want to talk to me about anime, you at least have to watch this show. It's really not that hard. Like I said, it's only 2 hours long. Only 2 hours long. Total length 6 episodes, bro. This should be like a prerequisite like type of anime you should watch in order to consider yourself an anime weeb, whatever weeaboo, whatever they people call. Like I feel like you're definitely required to watch this. You know what I'm saying?
This is the first time Mamimi acknowledges the nasty ass nature of their relationship, but she projects all the blame onto Naota, and when the city is under attack once again by a giant hand with little hands and little guns, she calls out for the real Tasuku, realizing Naota is his own man who expresses his own feelings, and in that sense and a couple others can no longer provide for her. So she finds another surrogate, the Terminal Core, as her new Takun, and Commander Amaral immediately suppresses Naota's NO, his emotions, with a pair of his weird Nori eyebrows. And that's episode 5 and the start of episode 6. That's the start of episode 6. Okay. In episode 6, the climax, Haruko and Kanti return to the Nanaba household after a brief stint as fugitives. And I'll say here, maybe too late for this point to actually hit home, that Haruko represents a lot of things in this show and in her relationship with Naota, which is why I said earlier that their age differences are important.
Plus, Naota got the exaggerated swagger of a Asian teen. I'm sorry. I tried to fit it in there, bro. It didn't work. But I will say this though, I do like his background though. I like his background a lot though. What the hell?
Important. She bounces around from mother to brother to taking on the typically male
role in
their patriarchal dynamic. Especially in the last episode, we see that she gives Naota the cold, utilitarian version of love that he thinks he needs, while being so overt with her manipulation of him that it's almost infuriating. I don't know if we can play the clip, but when Haruko returns, she tells Naota,
"Your head's the only one that works, Takun,"
in place of an "I love you" or "I missed you." And to confirm that parallel, Naota responds,
"You're a liar."
It's great writing. Bad relationships. Fucked up.
Yeah.
Feel bad if that happened to you. It's bad. I think this episode flips the relationship dynamic.
I will say this has happened to me though. Sort of similar setting, you know what I'm saying? That's probably why I resonate with him a lot, because like there was a point in a time where felt like I was in a relationship with an older girl, just to come to find out that she was just using me. You know what I mean? And I was hurt. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was hurt. That was like one of my first like major experiences. Like, bro, she like low key. She was like, I like I don't know. That's probably why I really resonate with him, because low key, like thinking back on it, like yeah, like I was just like, yeah, like mind you, I don't really consider relationships when you're like a kid, but like I was like around 12 years old, and there was this girl. Now that I think about it, low key kind of weird, because she was like 15, 16 years old, bro. And she was like, you know what I'm saying, hanging out with like me and shit like that. Shit was like, you know what I'm saying. Come to find out. Let me find out this show about Let me find out this show about me, bro. Let me find out this show's about me, bro. That's probably why I resonate with the show so much. Cause like, bro, like I've been in a similar situation with an older girl, and it's just like, yeah, I thought I was the man. I thought I was cool. Come to find out, it was nothing like that at all whatsoever. I was like, bro, I was like, bro, I became heartless after that. The heartless. I was like, I literally became Sora when he gets like in that final state. Like, bro, I became heartless. She made me heartless. That shit was crazy, bro. That shit like literally crazy. Like, she literally made me heartless. I just like, I was just a different type of dude. I don't know, especially like being around it. Mind you, I was like I said, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old. She was like at least 4 years older than me, 4 to 5 years older than me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Creepy as it is now, thinking about it, that low key is kind of weird, but I feel like it's not treated the same as if it was if it was reversed. You know what I'm saying? If a male was like 16 years old trying to talk to like a 12-year-old kid, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you know, when I'm talking about like, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it's reciprocated the same way as if it was like reversed, you know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people accepted that a little bit more, but like low-key thinking back about it, like it was low-key kind of weird. I didn't think so at the time, but looking back on it, it's like, yeah, that's low-key kind of weird, because I'm not even in like, I'm in the 6th grade, you know what I mean? Like, she's a freshman in high school. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, what? That shouldn't be right. That should not be right at all whatsoever. You know what I mean? That's the same thing kind of like here, because he's like, I think he's in the 6th grade as well, and she's a freshman in high school as well. So it's just like, you know, that's kind of. But I don't feel like a lot of people look at it that way if it's a girl. I mean now they do kind of, but like even though it's like back then, it's like, you know, you get with an older girl, you know, everybody else is like, oh man, this kid is cool. This kid is cool. It's like, you know what I'm saying? But like thinking on it, it's like, no, it's like, it's not really, no. You know what I mean? It's not really, it's not cool at all. It's not cool at all. Damn, whoa. Now I'm sorry.
Dynamic to reflect a final point that we have to build a feminist masculinity that isn't predicated on performing masculinity, but simply being masculine. It isn't based on the dominator model that Naota expresses when he tries to impose his love on Mamimi. This masculinity involves being open and vulnerable, and might be painful, which it absolutely is for Naota, but it's the only way to achieve true freedom and autonomy, which you could argue Naota has done when he absorbs the power that Haruko used him to gain for herself, but I don't believe that's
this show just got so many layers,
Naota
bro.
achieves freedom when he lets go of that power, which he could have easily used to inflict the same violence on Haruko that she inflicted on him psychologically. And if you've lost the point by now, I can assure you I am hanging on by a thread. But I'm saying all this nonsense to build to the point that, as obnoxious as I know it is for a man to talk feminism for almost 20 minutes, this patriarchal dynamic is the one that dominates every aspect of our lives. And it's that need to dominate and assert power that Haruko expresses from the beginning, and that tempts Naota at the end, that drives our family dynamics and can be extrapolated outward from there. Being denied real love in the home and instead being offered emotional violence breeds resentment in boys that fosters a dominator dynamic that we take to our sexual relationships relationships, and especially to our workplaces, where we're either dominated by other hurt men or we dominate our employees. This is the model we use to suppress organizing power against ourselves and perpetuate the existence of a slave class domestically and in Africa and the global south. This is the model that capitalism is built on. So, as confident as I am that this is not the turn you expected, I will finally assert that Fooly Cooly, as horny as it is the perfect primer for feminism and for the type of dialogical love that the Brazilian educator Paulo Freire says is necessary across class lines for true revolutionary practices to occur. Perfect timing on the honk. Oh my god. The type of love that is anti-hierarchical and anti-authoritarian. As it stands, our homes, our workplaces, the things that affect our daily lives even more directly than our governments, reflect the same type of dictatorships we claim to be against on the macro scale. So why do we allow them in more limited capacities? Long story short, watch Fooly Cooly if you're a socialist or if you're just horny, I guess. It's not that serious. I'm Udoye, and this is Beyond the Bot.
Low-key at the end of the day,
I appreciate you guys sitting through whatever that was. Who knows if I conveyed what I was trying to convey, but that's just what was on the paper. At that point, it's out of my hands. I'm sorry. Just want to give a quick shout out to our patrons, especially.
Hey, shout out to I was about to call it Beyond the Robot. Shout out to this guy, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole team, crew, bro. Y'all clean, y'all fire as hell. Yeah. I just like listening to about, like, not even just anything that I enjoy from a different perspective from other people. I like this analysis. I like this analysis of how what he interprets in the like what he thinks the interpretation of the show is. I like this because I like I said, I like this because it's like you see a different point of view in something that you watch. That's why I like watching these types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta make it entertaining. I actually like this. I actually think this was entertaining. But that's gonna do it for Anime Sunday, little animation lesson. 46 minutes. I tried my best. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this would have been way longer. no cap to you. This would have been way longer. But it is what it is. There was a lot of things I wanted to say, but you know what I'm saying, we'll probably save that for another day, you know what I mean? But look, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified when I'm uploading the video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram at viewtifulxnick. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and do that. And follow these guys, you know what I'm saying? Because they're cool. You know, like I said, like I would assume that everything that I react to or like listen to, whatever, y'all should be following them and doing all that too, because they deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, they definitely do deserve it. For the little few people that watch me, go ahead and go over there and subscribe to these boys. You know what I'm saying? These boys, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? So look, I love y'all. I'm out there, bitch. I'm gone.